As it is the belief of the grass-filled parts of Cameroon, the recent strong winds and heavy rains in Bamenda were indicative of some big news. So the big news came through the governor of the Northwest region, who on Sunday, May 22nd, in a press release, announced the transition to eternity of Fon Angwafo III Anyegamoti Solomon of Mankon on the night of Saturday, May 21st. The king of Mankon quit the scene at the age of 97, with over 50 years on the throne, 32 years as first vice president of the ruling CPDM party, and 2 years as member of the House of Chiefs, born out of the pioneer regional elections. An agri-technician by training, Fon Angwafo was also one of the first politicians of Anglophone Cameroon and was member of parliament as far back as in 1962. Grounded by protracted illness, Fon Angwafo III had disappeared from public view for some years. Probably one of the reasons why he did not abdicate even in the heat of the current security crisis, contrary to his counterparts of other villages who have taken up IDP status in other towns. Fon Angwafo III will be succeeded by Fru Asa Ndefru, a teacher by profession and principal of GTC in Tanka in Mankon. The fire that burned to death the 2-year-old child and her 32-year-old mother was reportedly lit by the woman. According to neighbors, she burnt incense in a clay pot and immediately went out for shopping while her daughter was asleep. It is suspected sparks from the hot coal got hold of the curtains and spread to the rest of the house. The fire sparked from the neighbor's house and spread to ours. We noted our own houses were on fire after we had put out the fire in the woman's house. We alerted the fire brigade, but they arrived late. Before they could finish installing their material, the fire had already burnt down some neighboring houses. It is reported that it was on her return from the market that she found her house on fire and immediately dived into the flames with hopes to save her daughter. Unfortunately, they both roasted to death. According to tradition, their charred bodies were buried straight away. The population in the Lugue neighborhood close to the Marwa High School in the far north region is still in shock. According to firefighters, fire incidents are recurrent in the area and have been blamed on negligence, anarchical electrical connections, and poor handling of fuel from neighboring Nigeria.
A rhetorical question asked by taxi drivers and commercial bike riders a day after a heavy-duty truck crushed 3 persons at Karifundo Koti on the 22nd of May, injuring many. These commercial bike riders are now wondering where they will have to station to wait for passengers, for as they put it, the scene of the accident is their usual pickup point, though prohibited. It got us worried, but we don't have a choice. It is the state of the country. The accident occurred where we load, but we have no other area where we can station. The damage caused by the accident is still conspicuous. This accident has left some business persons around in shock. Some are still being haunted by what happened on May 22nd.
Let me say, I'm afraid because I'm not safe while I'm here. If something happened while you see, you must be afraid. But I'm just here. I'm just here because I don't have anywhere to go.
I was shocked yesterday. I could not even eat yesterday. No, I was looking, not everything on for me yesterday was just sad.
Other business persons did not even show up this morning at their business places.
This is the daily situation here at the Emombo neighborhood, Yaoundé 4 subdivision, at the heart of the capital city. Cars often stuck in the deplorable potholes. These energetic young boys, permanently stationed here to push or carry the vehicles against an instant motivation of 500 to 1,000 francs for taxis and 2,000 francs for luxurious cars. A business that highly flourishes during or after heavy rains. Drivers totally frustrated by the stretch of the road. And just like the Emombo Esumba road, it is a similar situation on the Emombo Karifu Bilibi stretch of road, with the tar almost disappearing, giving way to mud-filled wider potholes.
It is harvest season for these internally displaced persons. At this farmland in Umbe, a small locality in the southwest region, the victims of the armed conflict are reaping the fruits of their labor. I am an IDP from UK. This is a farmland we have been cultivating to help ourselves. We are currently digging cassava, which we hope to sell and transform some into gari.
So now the dig na cassava.
The initiative is piloted by a philanthropist, Cliquez, supported by 5 other people of goodwill.
This cassava farm was created 3 years ago, purposely to help the IDP who are scattered all over the country as a result of the crisis. Members of the group who support or sponsoring the project, as at now, we are 5 of us. We have myself, Cliquez, the initiator. We have Master Richard Nkemken. You have Master Stephen Tanya and Madame Jacqueline Sabwe.
While cassava is being harvested, the IDPs are also planting corn. The overall goal is to keep production afloat and ensure these war destitute always have something to feed on, what has been appreciated by the beneficiaries.
I appreciate what Cliquez is doing to help the IDPs. If you see the cassava project, wow, it's a really great project. So we really need that they should assist the IDPs.
The internally displaced persons who now rely 100% on agriculture are calling on people of goodwill to support their effort so they can be able to provide for their families.
Sharing sustainable production in wheat, rice and cotton sectors between Cameroon and Egypt, the focus of the audience. Cameroon's Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Mbairobe, granted the Egyptian ambassador to Cameroon, Dalia Fayez Farak Gubral, this Monday in Yaoundé.
We talk about amelioration, the agriculture of cotton, which is in good interest for the 2 countries. And of course, the agriculture of wheat, which is very important nowadays with what happened in the world around us. And also in the field of rice, that Egypt is in a bad need for the rice, and the Cameroon, I think, have the very good lands for cultivating the rice.
Egypt's agriculture remains one of the most productive in the world, making it a key sector of the economy, providing livelihood for 57% of the population and 26% direct employment. Blending their agricultural know-how with Cameroon's ability and natural resources, a great opportunity for both countries.
Nous avons discuté de la production du blé. Vous savez que l'Égypte est le premier producteur de blé en Afrique.
We discussed wheat production as Egypt is the #1 of wheat in Africa and first importer. We talked about rice production and the mastery of water. As you know, Egypt is an expert in that. And in Cameroon's northern regions, water till date remains a big threat, and we have a lot to learn from Egypt. The two also expressed readiness to go beyond, covering training and capacity building, and so developing a constructive South-South cooperation, meeting the needs, satisfaction and development of their respective nations.
4 books focusing on the history of Cameroon as a resilient economy, its emergence by 2035, its shift towards modernization, and the projects that are changing the country. The author, Dr. George Edzimo Mongori, revealed in one of the books that in spite of the country's stagnation for decades, after being hit by several crises, there has been progress through structural projects that will lead Cameroon to emergence earlier than expected.
We are sure, I can say it, we are sure that Cameroon will emerge not before 2035, but maybe before 2030. Surely there is mismanagement, there is corruption, there are many things there, but the essential is already done.
The Varsity Dawn recalled how China's revenue multiplied by 25 in 30 years and the West by 10 in 2 centuries, emphasizing that with the rapid economic transformation in the world, Africa stands a chance of being the next interest to investors. He highlighted Cameroon's geostrategic position in the sub-region with 4 transit corridors, abundant hydrography and other natural resources could be a good opportunity for the country.
The country is showing more interest for investors will be African countries because salaries are still low. Today, most of the investors are seeing our continent as the future of the world. And this process is totally irreversible.
One of the intellectual pieces, however, revealed that Cameroon's modernization is visible through 3 subsections, which are football, music, and communication.
Statistics and research have shown that millions of students who graduate from universities each year in Africa, Cameroon inclusive, can't easily get jobs. Why? The fragile transition from schools to job markets remains preoccupying.
The state now is poor. It cannot help the students cannot give the jobs to every student. You cannot have a state now who can give 500,000 jobs to 500,000 students. We cannot. Then it's time for us to invite the students to accompany the student for the creation of the companies.
We always have a gap between training and the reality of the workplace. So what is IUF doing now is that we are going straight forward to the issue of helping universities deal with the issue of how do you get your students to obtain a job.
Government believes creating an entrepreneurial ecosystem favorable ground for job creation will do the magic. But again, the curricula needs to be revised and a more innovative approach based on project building and a business plan as a requirement to get admission into any university should be imposed.
Our role here is to support the Cameroonian government to establish a national framework which would make it possible for students during their studies to create their own jobs and have it integrated in their curriculum so that by the end of their master's degree, for example, or bachelor's degree, the hours spent working on their project will be recognized.
For 3 days, lecturers and partners from abroad will ensure graduate employability is enhanced in Cameroonian universities through a combination of strategies under the cardboard of professionalization.